Okay, interesting one. One that's come in from down near Melbourne, and nothing nefarious. Just one of those ones where it was sitting in a go box like so. It was a nice little setup actually, in the fact, and I've just had to pull the top off just to get everything out of it. AT50 with Kenwood TS50, and the previous owner did say that it had a wobbly VFO, which is correct. The rotary encoder itself is actually fine, is working okay, which is good news. That will just tighten up in a minute, and I'm sure we'll show you some video of that. Overall, you know, look, it's being used as a go box. It's definitely a little bit of a cleanup, but here's our problem: 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 1 2. See how no transmit on any of our metering, etc. And we're monitoring on 7100 1 2 3 4 5 1 2. Yep, nothing. Absolutely. And it's got a few little funnies where it'll this light here will go off. Now, with a little trick with these here, we tend to sort of hold the. Oh, how am I going to do this? Sorry, hang on. Just trust me on this. You're going to just try and see. I'm going to be holding the A equals B button, and I'm going to be putting the power on. That resets it back to 14 megs. Sometimes you'll get a thing. See how now 1 2 1 2 1. See how that light's sort of on and off at times, etc., etc. We're actually switching okay, no problems there. So then we always test and go, all right, let's go down to FM. Have we got any carrier? Unfortunately, yeah, no outputs on anything, which is... So this has got an interesting one. The chap that was selling it did say, I won't say his name because he's not a bad person. Please, I need you to understand. I've been on the phone with him. He's just surprised about this, but he never really did get to use it. He bought it as a go box. Had a bit of a receive on it, didn't transmit anywhere very much at all from it, what he could remember, and I agree with him that, you know, in checking, I was able to sort of agree with him that the receiver was working. I haven't put it on the analyzer or anything yet, but suffice to say, when I move up through the band on 40 meters at the moment, as slow as I'm going here, they are a bit. But as you can see, there is a receive signal there. So, and just no transmit. So, interesting one. So, what we do with something like this, I've already, just so you know, I've already put another mic on it just in case. But we knew it wasn't the mic. It still can be the mic, don't get me wrong. But the minute we couldn't get anything on AM or FM, we sort of know that, okay, as you can see, nothing there. And see how that light's flickering? See how just as it sits there, I'm in transmit mode. And it's trying to do something, but it doesn't really do anything. And we'll just take AIP off, and you'll just see on FM the signal meter. So as you can see, it's receiving quite well. Now, I haven't got the AT tune in there at the moment. That's sitting over there, but that's not affecting it. These are actually a good radio. I've worked on so many of them. And they can get some rather nasty faults. They can get some easier faults sometimes. Let's pull some screws out. Let's have a look. And sorry, that was the phone call I made. I've got two options with something like this. Either sometimes the seller will say, look, I'm really sorry, send it back. But I always say, look, if you give me your permission, let me pull the screws, let me have a look. And just see. Now, this wasn't freighted. This was brought up by my father-in-law, so we sort of know that it's not a postal thing or anything like that. But as he said, he never really transmitted on this, and was only had a 10-meter antenna to listen to a bit of 10. And without naming the guy, let me tell you, I can always tell when I'm dealing with someone being incredibly honest. He is being honest. So I don't want anyone to look at this video and go, yeah, you've been ripped off by a guy who knew. Not a chance. No, it's just that's not this guy. All right. Let's pull some covers and have a look. Now, I don't know how far we'll get with this video, because I may sort of get interrupted in the job, but I'll see how I go. You know how I am about editing videos. There might be part 1, part 2. Let's see if I can put this on pause and at least get the screws out. Okay, first thing I ever do before pulling screws out, I know this sounds crazy, but I get all the dust off and I clean them. I just think I like to start with something that's, you know, reasonable. Okay, so this one's an interesting one. What should be fairly easy. The grub screw's not in there. Someone's glued this on. This is going to be this is going to be interesting. To not wreck the rotor encoder. Yes. Removing the grub screw and gluing this on is not a good idea, especially if this becomes like so. This is going to get a little more complex. Yes, okay, let's have a look. Well, there was how to spend 20 minutes of your day on something that, yes, we've been able to clean off the shaft pretty well, and I've found a little grub screw to go back in there now. And of course, the good news is we didn't break the little rotor encoder, which, yeah, okay. Now, whilst this video is 5 minutes long, we're now about 40 minutes into this radio. To get to that, unfortunately, got to get the front off. So this is, I shouldn't be doing this I'm in my Radio Shack here. This is my little Corvette thing. I didn't expect to be doing this in here. Looks like we are. Let's have a look anyway. Alright, okay. As you can see, the rotor encoder is very lucky in that we're going to be able to do that up and basically fasten that up, and we'll be able to put this all back together again and put our front back on. Then we approach all the real problems. This is just window dressing stuff at the moment. We'll see. And there we go. One nice, not moving anywhere VFO. Fronts are easy to get off, to be very honest. They're not too bad. They have 4 clips that go around them. Pull the knobs off, basically. Excuse me. And as long as no one's glued the VFO on, you'll save yourself 20 minutes. 2 tabs each side. Bang. Do the VFO up, and we should be all good there, at least cosmetically. Okay, interesting. It has been doing this where it's fired up again, where the light, yeah, look at that, now the light wants to come on. Oh, she's a beauty, this one. But anyway, VFO is still working, so you know that's good news. And all right, let's just put some knobs and things back on it just for now, just so that we can actually. And as I said, I found a grub screw to fit this, so we won't have to glue it back on. Goodness. All right, some knobs back on it. Nice stable VFO. The chap that sold this to me, he actually thought that it's got a memory battery problem, in that it was resetting to 14 megs every time. Now, that's not what we're seeing at the moment, which is interesting. Now look at that, so that light delays, and it's got a couple of funnies. So we'll measure the voltage on the battery, just see what it is doing. But let's have a bit of a play here. What we'll do, let's do a reset just once again. So I'm going to turn it off. The A equals B button over here. Should put it back to 14 megs. See how it flickers? It does a few things that, like a voltage regulator problem, but no transmit 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. How it just flickers there, 1 2 3 1 2. Hello, but there's just nothing happening on any meters here anywhere. Hello. No. Something going on very, very strange here. So what I'm going to do off camera is we're just going to check a few connectors, have a bit of a play, see how I'm moving things around. Well, I might as well do it on camera a little bit, much as I can without causing ourselves a problem here. Just let me fix one thing I just saw. Hang on. Okay, just turning it back on again. Yeah, see that light flickering thing again? It's weird. Got to be honest, first time I've seen something like this. Very strange. And I tend to have a bit of a look around and just see, has anything like it's disturbed, etc. Yeah, I'm going to need 2 hands for some of this, but I've got no speaker plugged in just at the moment, just so you know why there's no noise. That's not the fault of the unit at the moment, that's me. Alright. Just checking around. Alright. This is a curious one, this one. Alright. Let's just have a quick look at a couple of things off camera that I can't do with. I need to get this on a stand, don't I? I've just popped out to my messy workshop for the minute. One of the tricks we do, we put a 2032 battery in one of these fellas. We can actually solder and pop it away. It becomes something that you can double side tape somewhere, whatever you want to do, but it becomes a plug-in, plug-out solution. But he's right about something. That battery is definitely very dead, so don't think that's causing his problem. But it's weird how it's holding some memory at the moment. But anyway, we'll find out. I'll just replace that. Okay, and as suggested, and all we've done is just butchered the battery out by clipping it out, making sure we've got a 2032 in there. And let's have a look here, like so. And now, see how, again, this light's not working on the front, and it will come good. And see how that just came good then. That's an interesting one, how that just keeps happening. But this is not going to transmit. No, it's going to be the same thing it was before. Unfortunately, the memory battery is going to have nothing to do with what we're doing. The only reason I replaced it is because I wanted to see that when I turn it off and when I turn it on, it should come back to 14.0182, 018.2. To be fair, there must have been a little bit just in that battery. It wasn't reading very well, though, I can tell you. Let's just go get it. Oh, hang on, I don't need to take you there. Hang on. Because I'm not having enough hands, I've had to... So that was registering 0.9 of a volt on this little fella. So, you know, obviously running a bit low, but it was enough to just keep the memory sort of happening on this thing, where now it'll be 4 volts. Hang on, I'll show you that. I have to do this a little bit sort of hands-on, but to give you an idea, this battery should be about 3 volts. What have we got there? Hang on, bring that over there. It's obviously not touching on the other side. Hang about. I've done a terrible job of this. If I could just get these 2 clips to sit on here a bit better. And it's going to be a pain, isn't it? You know what, would have been just as easy to use my crocodile clips on this one. Sorry, my leads. Let's have a look here. Can I pick up the ground off there? Can't remember if they're floating ground on these things. Let's just see. Yeah, there we go. 3.2 volts now coming off that that battery there. So at least we're getting the right supply to it now. Unfortunately, no, it's not going to solve anything. And obviously we can shorten these leads up. You can still shorten these leads up and actually double side tape those down and then have it unclip so that you can replace your battery at any stage. These are a great idea to just save time and energy, you know, when every 10 years when they do die. Now, there's a number of things Kenwood used to do just to make your life really painful. Here's one of them. Oh, hang on, that's not going to work. I'll try and get some light, but see how they use these hex head fellas here to be able to get your board out here. There's just little things they did that were quite irritating, and I'm sure they had their reasons, but I'm going to be running short of time soon, unfortunately, and I don't think we're going to get as far as I'd like to. I have a wife that wants to have me at a travel agent. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay, in about 12 minutes, so we're probably not going to make it on this video, but as you can see, look at that, still, oh, it's got its memory now. Yeah, look at that delay. There's something going on really weird there. That should just come up straight away, and there's something very, very, very weird with this flickering. This, I would say, there's going to be a voltage regulator problem or something very weird going on. Don't get me wrong, it could be something far worse in the output stage, but just having a quick look at it, it's going to be an involved one, and I was hoping this video was going to be like a quick fix and would show you just how something might be just simple. See when you're flickering, see all this flickering going on here, something's not right. It doesn't like something very much. What's that little red light mean down there? Yeah, I'm going to need to pull out a service manual for one of these, and this is going to be a longer job than I would have ever liked it to be. I was hoping that this was going to be a relatively easy one. By the way, we've checked all these here. Fuses are good. All over here, all good. All showing fantastic, which would have been nice too. But yeah, no, she's a really, really complex, funny one, this one. Receiver works fine on it, no question, but I'm going to need to spend some serious time on it, which I unfortunately don't have right now. Have I got a hex head? No, I might actually have a hex head in this lot. Just want to try one more thing. I've got 12 minutes. Okay, there's a bit of light there, sorry. Interesting. That's that little cap there, as we were sort of moving things around, came out of here somewhere off this front, which would make sense. Just trying to see where the heck it's come from. But how's it looking? A little light, a bit more light. Yeah, it's not going to help. Sorry, try this. Yeah, all right. So something a bit. I reckon that was dry joint in there, and as I've sort of moved my fingers in there, that's very much popped out. Oops, which should be in there a lot better, which is that whole front when they're going to need to take off. Have a look, find out where that's come from. Well, this is not going to make it for the timing we've got at the moment, but that cap, especially if it's, see how as I'm switching here, that flickering, that wouldn't explain the transmit, but that might explain a little bit of, well, no, sorry. I'd love to be hopeful and say, but no, there's nothing on that front panel that's it might cause a little bit of unstable display like we're seeing with the lights and things, and why it's taking time to come on like it is. But yeah, no, it's not going to stop the transmit side of it like we're seeing. Yeah, it's right. I'm just trying different modes, different things here, but see how whatever we try to do with anything to do with the processor, switching things, etc. Yeah, she's got a funny one. All right, well look, as much as I would love to have made this a one-shot video, I think we're going to have a part 2 of this. Has got me interested though, but I just don't have the time right now to continue on with it. But you get the idea of some of the stuff. I mean, especially little hints like these sort of things are great time savers. Shorten your leads, double side tape in there, then you can click it open anytime you need to, for a quick repair there. Don't glue your front knobs on. Find the grub screw like we ended up doing. And yeah, I've probably been on this, look, I started about midday, so I don't know, a couple of hours mucking around trying to, no, not quite that long. Anyway, but we're not really that much further ahead, apart from just saying, well, we've sorted out what we do know, and unfortunately this little cap here won't be the reason it's not transmitting. That'll just be another facet of things that are part of it. It could just well be dry jointed in there a little bit, and we've just knocked it and it's come out. Might have nothing to do with it, to be very honest, but certainly keep you updated on this one. I'm curious myself, because as I said, this chap, this is not, look at that. Yeah, see, I've been wondering about just thinking about this. They have a flex cable goes between this major board here. Now if I move that flex cable, no, not really. No, I wondered whether I might see some indicators on that flex, but no, that's just stabilized a bit there, hasn't it? It's sort of yeah, but there's definitely something weird going on there. 1 2 1 2, yeah, nothing. Let's go back to AM FM actually. It is so nice if we had some carrier. Definitely it is switching, as you can see. There's switching. It sees the mic switching it, no props, but it doesn't see anything else, unfortunately. Oh my goodness! But yeah, it's got a definitely current draw happening. Something's happening there, etc., etc. If I was to plug the speaker back in, you would actually hear that this is receiving at the moment. Yeah, it's hearing noise, but I don't think I'd go as far to say receiving. We heard a CW signal earlier on 40, I remember that. So now we're sort of going to be sussing out, you know, is it a band issue as well? Like, have we got problems on certain bands, not others? Yeah, this is going to be a very complex one. And as you can see, sometimes, see, we're definitely hearing a signal there on 40 meters, but it's as dead as a doornail on 20 meters. So that is interesting. Let me just go back up to, see, 10 meg sounds like it's hearing a bit of noise. Yeah, a little bit of, let's just go back to sideband over here. I just would have thought we would have heard a bit more noise, but look, we'll put a signal generator into it. Something there. No, it might be okay. So we might still be receiving. Let's go down to some of the FT8 area. VFOs on these things are always so slow, weren't they? Is it 078 somewhere around about there? Can't remember now. What I'll do, I'll just go over to the beam. It's just more likely to hear a bit more. Any CW down there? It's very, very quiet. Don't get me wrong. A bit of birdie stuff. I'm just curious to see if it's... This is where I need to be back in the workshop. Be very honest. There we go. Well, that's receiving. Okay, so good. We've still got a receiver that's working. We just don't have a transmitter. 1, 2, 3, nothing, 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 nothing. Okay. Interesting how it's receiving reasonably well. Yeah. All right, guys. We shall report back on this one, and I'll send a copy of this video to you know who you are, just so you can have a bit of a look at what's going on. This one's a nasty one. All right, guys, 73s. I've got to go to the travel agent. Apparently book some international travel, and keep the wife happy. This is VK3 Charlie Mike. Cheers, guys.